Good morning, American government. Feel the burn Sanders here. I want to talk to you a few minutes about presidential leadership. Every president has a unique style, and they can be extremely contrasting. For example, Ronald Reagan was a big picture type guy, not interested in the details and the minutia. He let other people worry about that. He just worried about the vision. On the other hand, you take a look at someone like Jimmy Carter. He was detail oriented, a micromanager. He was involved into the greatest details with everything, and he spent lots of time and energy just doing all the detail type thing. That was his personality. So when we look at our history, we have all sorts of different type of leadership styles. Some are hands-on, some are not, some are great communicators, some are not so great communicators. So we'll take a look at a couple of those styles today and sort of look at this whole idea of presidential leadership. But what's really, really interesting about a lot of this is the founding fathers, when they wrote this Constitution, they anticipated that Congress, not the president, would lead the nation. Listen to that. When the founders wrote the Constitution, they anticipated that Congress, not the president, would lead the nation. Fast forward to 2020. Can you imagine where we would be right now if it was Congress was leading our country? Our Congress right now is so divided. Our country is so divided. We can't agree on just about anything. I'm absolutely stunned that that the stimulus package was approved as quickly as it was. But the very fact that at one time, when this Constitution was set up, the thought that the Congress would lead the nation is just baffling to me. That is not the case. It's the president over the years who leads our country. And we're going to look at a couple qualities and skills that you have to have as a leader. Obviously, I would say probably one of the best ones is that you have to be a great communicator, and you need to understand the public. You need to understand the fears, what's going on with the country. When you have your finger on the pulse of the country and you're a great communicator, you certainly have a leg up in terms of leading this country. Let's just fast forward to the current events that we have right now. Obviously, our country hasn't seen anything like this in, over 100 years, right? This pandemic right now. And so what we see is with President Trump, again, whether you're a fan or you're not a fan right now, is he comes on with news conferences every afternoon trying to update the American people. He's trying to calm some fears. He's trying to give hope. Some of the news right now is not that promising. President Trump yesterday said it's going to get bad. It's going to get worse before it gets better right now. Honesty is another one as well. So to be a great leader, a presidential leader, one of the skills that you need is you need to understand the public. You need to be a great communicator. I personally feel you need to be fairly transparent and honest. Call it the way you see it. If you don't think things are going to be great, don't say that they're going to be great. Typically politicians like to put a positive spin on everything, and we want to be somewhat optimistic, and we want to hope for the best. But in the case where we are right now with this virus, I think we need to hope for the best, but we need to prepare for the worst. In terms of, we're right back to communicating. You need to clearly present your ideas to the American people. They need to understand. And again, if you've been watching the news lately, especially this last week, there's mixed messages all over the place. Now, does that come from, there's confusion from the White House or from the president's office, or is that just media taking words, spinning it their way? Probably a little bit of both. But for a president to have effective leadership, he needs to have his finger on the pulse of the people. He needs to know their hopes, fears, their attitude, their public opinion, where they are, and a president has to have the ability to effectively communicate. Sometimes you have to say the hard things and the tough things, but nevertheless, you need to be able to communicate that effectively to the people. Ronald Reagan, personally one of my favorite presidents, was referred to as the great communicator. he could sell you snow in wintertime. He was just a great communicator. He had that personality. He just the character of him. He would come in and he could just talk your socks off, and he could communicate effectively. And he made you, at that time when he was president, he made you feel great that you were an American citizen. So Ronald Reagan is famous, and he's noted to be the great communicator. On the other hand, someone like President Jimmy Carter was not considered a great communicator. And typically, if you're not a great communicator, the American people sort of lose favor with you, and they go to the polls and that they will vote you out. Another great quality a successful president has to have in terms of his leadership is the sense of timing. Again, this goes back to probably the first point, is that you have to have your finger on the pulse of the people. You need to know when to say something, when not to say something, when to put forward an idea, a proposal, and when not to put forward that proposal. And it's sort of an art. And a lot of these presidents, they do it in a variety of ways. But one of the ways the presidents do is they have the information leaked out just to see what the reaction will be from the press, see what the reaction will be from the American people. And then if it's a positive one, they may go forward with the idea. If it's a big pushback, lots of people have both feet on the brakes. It's something they might not propose that idea at the time. They'll put it on the back shelf and maybe come back to it another time. But skillful presidents do this all the time. They're trying things. They're trying to make things better. But you want to be very, very careful. Presidents need to be very, very careful with the timing of their new ideas. Another quality of great leadership is being open to new ideas. It goes back to one of my philosophies is you do not know what you do not know. Good leaders surround themselves by good people, and they are flexible and open to new ideas. They're willing to listen to other people, to give and take sessions with these advisors, and to make good informed decisions. It's hard to know about viruses, nuclear warheads, economies, health issues, right? Roads, highways, water, all those type things. And so basically a good leader, a good president is going to surround himself by quality people, and he's going to be willing to listen and be flexible with the ideas and take recommendations from these experts. As a side note, historically, FDR, Roosevelt, and Kennedy liked their staff in these meetings to argue and offer different positions and go back and forth. On the flip side of it, Ronald Reagan, he did not like dissension. He wanted when he had his staff meeting, he wanted his team all on the same page and going forward with the idea. Another great quality, and you certainly see this in presidents, you have to, and especially that relationship with Congress, is this ability to compromise. The nature of politics is such that you need to be able to give up something to get something in return. It's the old give to get type thing. Not only will you find that in presidential leadership, but you're going to find that in your life as well. In the business world, it's usually, you're going to have to give to get. There's a compromise all the time as you're trying to get deals and get policies in place. And finally, the last one we'll talk about today is that you have to have political courage. I'm not quite sure who would really want to be president. It's almost a thankless job. We've talked about this in class before. For $400,000 a year, I'm not quite sure it's worth it. Obviously, from a monetary standpoint, it's not. But typically presidents, they're certainly not doing it for the money. They're doing it for the patriotism for the country. But to be a great leader, you're going to have to be courageous, and you're going to have to make some really, really tough decisions. And when you make those tough decisions, understanding at least half the people are not in favor of it. They're going to be against you. They're going to be attacking on all sides. And again, I think the political climate that we have in our country right now is that we are so divided. When we start looking at some of our past elections, that whatever you try to do, with popular ideas, not popular ideas, big ideas, small ideas, whatever you're trying to do, every decision that you're making is it's under scrutiny, it's under a microscope, and you're going to get pushed back from basically half the country. So you have to be very courageous. You have to have some thick skin, and you just have to really believe in what you're doing and the vision that you have for the country, and you just need to go for it. I'd like to thank Mr. Sanders for being with us this morning. So here's what you need to do is we're going to give you Section 3 discussion questions. They'll be attached below on your Canvas account. Need you to read page 261 to 267 as well and review the PowerPoints from Section 3. Also, we're going to try this. We'll see how it works. I will send you an invitation to a Zoom conference for Monday at high noon. It'll be lunch with Coach, and it'll be our chance just to see if, from a technology standpoint, if we can get the Zoom account to work, that we can at least be visually connected. I know we have this social distancing right now, but it would be nice on Monday if we can sort of have a Zoom conference and get to see each other and just sort of talk about the upcoming week and some of the things that we're going to get done. So check your email. Obviously go to your Canvas account, do the work. So far you've been fantastic getting the work to me. Thank you very much. Although I'm inundated with emails, thank you. It's everyone's right on task. So keep up the good work. Have a safe and wonderful weekend. Look for that invitation from Zoom, and then we will hopefully see each other on Monday. Take care.